Welcome to ZoomInData. Hello everyone. Thank you for joining the 6th video in our comprehensive Azure Logic Apps series. In this session, titled Connectors Overview, Built-in, Managed, and Custom, we will cover the role of connectors in enabling seamless integrations with external services, the differences between built-in connectors, managed connectors, over 1,400 available, and custom connectors. How to search, configure, and use each type effectively in workflows. Practical considerations for performance, security, and extensibility. Connectors are the key to unlocking the full power of Azure Logic Apps for real-world integrations. If you find this content valuable, please subscribe to ZoomInData and enable notifications to follow the complete series. Let us begin. What are connectors in Azure Logic Apps? Connectors are pre-built interfaces that provide triggers and actions for integrating with external services, APIs, and systems. They abstract authentication, connection management, and operation details for rapid development. Connectors enable workflows to interact with Microsoft, third-party SaaS, on-premises, and custom APIs. What are the three main types of connectors? Built-in connectors, native to the Logic Apps runtime, no external setup required. Managed connectors, Microsoft-hosted connectors, over 1,400, for popular services. Custom connectors, user-defined connectors for unsupported or proprietary APIs. What are built-in connectors and their advantages? Built-in connectors execute directly within the Logic Apps runtime for optimal performance and reliability. They include core utilities like HTTP, data operations, control flow, and some Azure services, e.g., Azure Functions, Service Bus. No authentication or connection creation needed. They are always available. What are managed connectors? Managed connectors are pre-built and hosted by Microsoft, covering Microsoft 365, Salesforce, SAP, ServiceNow, Twitter, and many more. They require creating an API connection with authentication, OAuth, API key, etc. Available in both consumption and standard models, with some premium connectors requiring licensing. How do you search for and add managed connectors? In the Azure Portal Designer, search the connectors gallery by name or category. Select the connector, create or reuse an API connection, then choose a trigger or action. Connections are stored as separate Azure resources for reuse across workflows. What are custom connectors and when to use them? Custom connectors allow integration with any REST or SOAP API not covered by managed connectors. Use them for proprietary internal APIs, legacy systems, or niche SaaS services. They support Open API, Swagger definitions or manual definition for triggers and actions. How do you create a custom connector? From the Azure portal, go to Custom Connectors, New Custom Connector. Define host, base URL, authentication, actions, and triggers using Open API or manual entry. Test the connector, then add it to workflows like any managed connector. What is the performance difference between connector types? Built-in connectors offer the best performance as they run natively. Managed connectors have slight overhead due to proxying. Custom connectors' performance depends on the target API and authentication method. How does authentication work across connector types? Built-in, usually no auth or uses managed identity, context. Managed, supports OAuth 2.0. API key, basic auth, etc., configured per connection. Custom, define auth scheme, OAuth, API key, etc., in the connector definition. What are premium connectors? Premium connectors, e.g., SAP, IBM MQ, Oracle DB, require a paid plan or license. They are part of the managed connector family but incur additional costs. Available in both consumption, per execution, and standard models. How do connectors differ in consumption versus standard logic apps? Both support built-in and managed connectors. Standard offers more built-in connectors, e.g., advanced XML, liquid, and local testing. Custom connectors work identically in both models. Explain on-premises connectors and gateways. On-premises connectors, e.g., SQL Server on-prem, use the on-premises data gateway. The gateway acts as a secure bridge without exposing internal systems. Required for hybrid scenarios in managed connectors. What security best practices apply to connectors? Use managed identities for Azure services instead of keys. Store secrets in Azure Key Vault where possible. Limit connection scope and use private endpoints for sensitive connectors. How many managed connectors are available? As of January 2026. Over 1,400 managed connectors, with continuous additions for new services. Categories include productivity, databases, enterprise apps, social media, and AI. The gallery is searchable and categorized in the designer. Describe a common use case for built-in connectors. Use HTTP built-in for REST calls, Compose, Parse JSON for data handling. Azure Functions Connector for custom logic. Ideal for core operations without external dependencies. Describe a common use case for managed connectors. Office 365 Outlook, send email or get new messages. Salesforce, create, update records on events. Service bus, queue, message processing. Describe a common use case for custom connectors. Integrate with an internal REST API for company-specific data. Connect to a legacy SOAP service not supported natively. Extend to niche tools like custom CRM or monitoring systems. How do you reuse connections across workflows? API connections are Azure resources shared across Logic Apps. Select existing connection when adding the same connector. Manage connections separately in the Connections blade. What happens if a connector action fails? Failed actions appear in run history with details. Use run after for fallbacks, retries, or scopes for error handling. Monitor and alert via Azure Monitor. How have connectors evolved with AI? As of January 2026. New managed connectors for Azure OpenAI and AI agents. Custom connectors can expose AI model endpoints. Workflows can convert to MCP servers using connector actions. What is the cost implication of connectors? Built-in, included in workflow execution metering. Managed, standard connectors free. Premium incur per execution fees. Custom, no extra cost beyond execution. How do you test connectors before using them? Use the Test tab in Custom Connector Designer. Run individual actions in the Workflow Designer with sample inputs. Monitor runs history for quick validation. Explain throttling and rate limits. Managed connectors enforce provider rate limits, e.g., API calls per minute. Built-in have higher limits. Handle with retry policies or delays in workflows. What tools help discover new connectors? Azure Portal Connectors Gallery with search and categories. Microsoft Learn documentation lists all connectors. Community templates showcase popular combinations. Why are connectors a frequent interview topic? They demonstrate understanding of integration patterns, performance, and extensibility. Questions often involve choosing between types for specific scenarios. Key for designing hybrid, enterprise, or custom solutions. Thank you for watching this session on Connectors Overview in Azure Logic Apps. If you found this video helpful, please like, share, and subscribe to ZoomInData. More Azure Logic Apps interview and tutorial videos coming soon. Stay connected and keep learning.